Well, John, we are going to get started. We're streaming on Facebook now. And so, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for our Wednesday program from the Henry Plant Museum. And so, I'd like to thank the Sun Trust for this program because our Music in the Museum series is part of the Sun Trust Community Connection series. And so, we are trying to continue that program, even though we're practicing our social distancing. The Music in the Museum series happens on the third Thursday of the month, and it is the museum's effort to recreate.
Heather, you froze on my machine.
All right, John, this is Lindsay. It looks like Heather may be having some problems with her internet, so why don't you go ahead and start your first piece, and when she comes back, she can pick up with her introduction. I know she was going to thank SunTrust, who is our underwriter for Music in the Museum and all of our Community Connection series. So thank you so much for doing this today, and we're so happy to have you here. Go ahead and tell us what your first piece is going to be.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I think this is terrific that we can do this with keeping the social distancing in mind. I usually perform on the occasional Thursday down at the museum, but of course at the museum. Today I'm in my teaching and rehearsal and recording studio, which is a good place to be. And thanks to the technology of Zoom, we can do this from here. So I'm going to start by a couple of short pieces by Francisco Tárrega. Tárrega was a composer, a Spanish composer who lived from 1852 to 1909. And one of the reasons I like to play some Tárrega when I play at the museum is not only is it very good music, but he was alive and composing during the time that the museum was in operation, since the museum actually opened in 1891. And according to the information we have, there was a lot of music going on at the museum while they had their guests. Museum in the lobby, museum upstairs, museum downstairs, and Henry Plant was a big fan of music. So it could be that if they had had a guitarist at the museum at the time, they might have played these pieces. The first one is called Lagrima. Lagrima, I hope I say that right. And it is tears or sadness, I guess, because Tárrega was away from his beloved Spain. I think he was in London at the time and he was missing Spain, so he wrote this piece. And that'll be followed by Adelita, which of course is a woman's name, so I guess that was in honor of a friend. Francisco Targa and his Lágrima en Adelita. Next piece I'd like to play is actually an anonymous piece. And again, it's been very popular through the actually last probably 150 years with guitarists, and it is called Spanish Romance. Let's see. Next piece will be one by a Baroque composer. Actually, this was written for the keyboard. Francois Couperin was a kind of a playful composer, and he wrote this. A number of his pieces had kind of odd names to them. This one is called The Mysterious Barricades, and we really don't know what he was talking about. He was a composer in the French courts, and so it could have been that he, of course, was attending the big social events. And you can imagine at the time in the Baroque with everyone with their high makeup and their high hair and their fans and their very extravagant clothes. The Mysterious Barricades, they think maybe, and he's talking about the fans that the ladies would have at the parties, that there was a barricade to who they really were because you couldn't see them very well. And that it made them mysterious. And another thought would be maybe it was just their eyelashes. They used to wear extraordinarily long eyelashes, and that maybe those were the barricades, since the eyes are the window to the soul. So it may have been those, which are kind of fun ideas, or maybe he just was being ridiculous and thinking that 100 years, 200 years later, 300 years later, we'd still be trying to figure out what he was talking about. So it doesn't really matter. It's a fun piece. Been transcribed for the guitar, and it's fun to play. You know, I just realized my phone is on. I'm going to turn it off. You'd think I would know better. In any case, Mysterious Barricades. Okay, I'm going to change gears here a little bit and play a popular, actually a song from Gordon Lightfoot. If you're a Gordon Lightfoot fan, he was born in 1938 and of course wrote a number of hit songs, the record of Edmund Fitzgerald and a number of them. And I heard this song, it's called Don Quixote, and it was actually written for or arranged from the Gordon Lightfoot song for a steel string guitar. I don't have one behind me. And that's a finger style that they call when they play with their fingers on a steel string guitar instead of a pick. But I just thought it just sounded really great, and the finger style is very, very similar to classical that we play with our fingers. So this is Don Quixote. And of course, at the museum at the time, I would assume that the musicians of the day might have played popular music of the day along with classical music, maybe even jazz in the later time of the hotel, since the hotel actually closed in 1932, so it would have made it through the roaring 20s and into the age of jazz. And so, little history here. Henry Plant opened the museum, I think I said earlier, in 1891. He died in 1899, and City of Tampa bought the hotel in 1905 and ran it until 1932. And the museum opened at that point in 1933, and the University of Tampa took over. So that's where it's located today. Terrific museum. If you have a chance and you haven't been, go. So this is Don Quixote. Kind of a toe tapper. Anyway, I hope you like that. We'll switch gears here again, and I will play a piece by another modern composer. This is by Jorge Cardoso. He was born in 1949, and it's called Milonga. And a milonga is both a type of dance in South America, and it's also a place where people would go to do the dance. So it's got almost a tango-like rhythm to it, and it is danced to. I think it's a terrifically evocative piece. So, Milonga. Milonga. Pardon me. So let's move on to a little bit of Bach. Assuming that, well, again, I'm assuming that any composer or any performer at the Plant Museum back in the time when it was open and they had so much music going, they would have played some Bach. Bach is, by many musicians, kind of the peak of compositional skill. Absolutely amazing. In fact, Andrew York, the great Grammy-winning guitarist, who I had the great fortune to have a lesson with and spend some time with, when he concertizes, he only plays music that he wrote or Bach. That's how important Bach is. Now, Bach wrote a number of pieces for the lute, and I happen to have a lute, if you can see this here. I bought this when I was studying classical guitar in college, and people usually ask, what's wrong with the neck? Why is it broken? It's not broken. It's the way it was made. Unfortunately, the neck has warped on this, and the frets, which are actually movable, they were not permanent, have mostly come off. They're actually a type of nylon or gut that was used for that, and so it's unplayable. But I did buy it to try to learn something about the lute, but it's a different animal, and so I kept it, and it's become a wall decoration basically. But so Bach wrote these. He wrote 4 lute suites, of course, which is a set of music. And I play the allemande. Allemande was a type of dance, so this is written in the rhythm of the dance. It wasn't meant to be danced to, but that rhythm is what infuses the piece, and it kind of informs its propulsion forward. So this is from the lute suite in E minor by Bach, the allemande. This is the bourrée, which is another type of dance from the same suite, bourrée in E minor. Let's see. I'm going to play another piece by Francisco Tárrega. Again, this is a Spanish composer who may have wrote this while the museum was in existence, and if they'd had a guitarist playing, he may have played at the museum at the time. It's called Marieta. Let's see, how are we doing on time? Should I stop?
That's up to you, John. If you'd like to play one more piece, you've had positive comments that folks are enjoying your music, so it's up to you if you have time for one more.
One more, okay. Let's see. Well, this is from the Renaissance, and it is by the composer Gaspar Sanz, who lived from 1640 to 1710. So actually more of the Baroque period. But in any case, it's called Canarias. It's a fun little piece we could end on nice and bright. How's that?
That was excellent, John. Thank you so much. From the comments that we've had coming in, everyone thoroughly enjoyed your performance, your music, and especially thank you for sharing your exceptional talent. So wonderful. Thank you. We did have a couple questions come in. One of our audience commented that it's so impressive that you're able to transition from classical to popular music, which raised the question of what is the most difficult to play? Or what do you find more challenging?
Well, my degree is in classical guitar, and if you were in the world of classical guitar, it's a never-ending quest to have the technical ability to play the music. It can be very difficult and very complex, but that does not take away great jazz guitarists, great popular guitarists, rock guitarists can be unbelievably technically advanced. It's one of the reasons I really enjoy playing the electric guitar as well. So it's not, wouldn't be quite fair to say one is harder than the other. The challenges are different with different instruments. So I hope that's probably the politically correct way to put it. Playing really good electric guitar is hard, hard, hard. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of intellectual work, as well as finger work, and it's the same for classical, jazz. Strumming a few chords is the easiest way, and of course with students we like to start with something that can be successful, so we start with things that people can do, and often that's taking some chords and strumming and playing some songs that they like, and we move on from there wherever they want to go.
Okay, well thank you. Do you have a favorite type of music that if you had just all afternoon to play, what would you play?
Well, it's classical music. It's classical guitar. That's where my heart really is. That's most of my practice and training has been. So kind of the desert island would be this instrument and the book of all the pieces Bach wrote. That'd be a lifetime of work right there.
Okay. And I think you sort of touched on this in your first answer, but someone did ask, what's the difference between classical guitar and other types of guitars?
Well, it's a good instrument. So if they're talking about the instrument itself, this is a classical guitar, and that means the strings, the top three strings are nylon, and the bottom three strings are actually silk wound with a type of metal, and they're meant to be played with the fingers, fingernails. And most classical guitarists use their own fingernails. If you are unfortunate enough to have weak fingernails, like I do, you end up having to get them done with acrylic. So I have to have these done at the local nail salon. And my wife has become my nail tech because the nail salon is closed. So she has learned how to put on acrylic nails, very thankfully, because when I break a nail, I can't play. So that's kind of an odd thing about it. It'd be like a violinist who's all the hair on their bow broke, they can't play. So it's a similar kind of thing. A lot of guitarists do play, particularly steel string guitar and electric guitar, also with just their fingertips with no nails. So the type of music is classical, which is usually more intellectual, usually done by trained musicians. And that isn't to say it's better. I don't hold that opinion, but it's different. It's in its own world. But this is the guitar they would usually play. And of course, electric guitar back here, and a steel string guitar looks like this, but it's slightly different, and the neck is narrower, and the strings are made of steel, like they are in electric guitar. And so I play them all, I like them all. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. And that's if I read my handwriting clearly enough. Then one other question came in that I think is more something that I can speak to is what do we know about the music played at the Tampa Bay Hotel? And so in the museum's archives, we have programs from performances that were given for special events like the opening of the Tampa Bay Hotel, special gatherings when they had conferences of different organizations coming and holding events at the hotel, and then also programs from the Tampa Bay Casino, the Tampa Bay Hotel Casino, where entertainers came in. So we do have little bits of information that shed light on what type of music was performed, some of it instrumental and some of it also vocal. But then with the casino, some of the programs we have show that there was a wide range of entertainments. So there were dramatic performances, there were musical performances. John Philip Sousa performed there. Vocal, Nellie Melba performed at the Tampa Bay Hotel in the casino. Anna Pavlova danced there, so there were dramatic as well as dance. And then various minstrel shows came through, kind of like variety shows. And so it was a wide range of entertainment from the information that we have through the programs, as well as newspaper accounts reporting on those events. So that's what we know of entertainment at the hotel. And as I said, it took place in the hotel in various rooms, but then also in the casino, which was a performance hall on the grounds. So let me just scroll quickly here if any other questions came in. Okay, so it looks like there was one other that came in asking about the differences in finger styles. I'm trying to see what finger styles refers to. Okay. John, is there a difference in fingering styles? Perhaps that relates to what type of music you're playing or type of guitar based on the strings. Does that?
Yes, yes, it is. Fingerstyle guitarists typically play steel string guitars. And I know they all look somewhat similar. Let me grab one.
And it might be in reference to the plucking of strings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this would be called a steel string guitar. And of course, it looks in general like a classical guitar or a nylon string guitar. But you see the body shape is somewhat different. The waist isn't quite as much. This is a large one. It's a dreadnought, a large guitar. Guild is the name of this one. Martin is Guild and Martin or Taylor are probably the biggest names in steel string guitars, but they have a different, I don't know if it's in tune, different kind of sound. But I could play the thing that I played a little bit of that. Let's see. Nope. That was the Don Quixote that I played. That was the fingerstyle piece on the classical. Oops, I'm tuned differently than they are. Those are different sound to the instrument itself. And fingerstyle, Chet Atkins is probably the king of fingerstyle. Unbelievable. Tommy Emmanuel, if you go onto YouTube and look up Tommy Emmanuel and Chet Atkins and you watch them play, and a lot of the music just sounds kind of fun and light, but it can be incredibly technically challenging. And they do slightly different things with the way the left hand does things, but it's a lot of right hand work. And great fingerstyle players are work just as hard as classical or great jazz players. It's a lot of work to play that music well. So I hope that answers the question. So the guitars are used are slightly different, and but it's the similar style. And some fingerstyle guys and women just use their fingertips instead of nails, and some use a thumb pick to go with that, or just all their nails. It's all over the map what people do.
Okay. Well, that looks like all of our questions that came in. And so again, just wanted to thank you again, John, for sharing your music with us this morning, and for all of you who joined us today. We're delighted you came. And we'd also like to then again thank SunTrust for underwriting the Community Connection series, which Music in the Museum, or Music Remotely right now, is a part of. So thank you all. We hope you'll tune in on Sunday at 2 for our live theater. Otis Friedman, the head waiter, will be performing for a dramatic, Josh Goff, local actor, will be doing a dramatic reading of Otis Friedman, the head waiter at the Tampa Bay Hotel. And then next Wednesday, we'll be exploring the Sport and Life, the museum's new exhibit, as it goes live. So thank you all, and we hope you'll tune in again on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.